To begin communicating about Common Core with the people of Pennsylvania, we decided we needed to understand better what Pennsylvanians think today about education issues, about their schools, and do they know anything now about Common Core or other reform efforts? We undertook some polling. Certainly in an election year, everyone's accustomed to polling. What we did was hire the Terrence Group, one of the premier polling firms from Washington, D.C., to interview on the telephone for 20-minute interviews 600 Pennsylvania voters, registered voters, people who certainly care about public policy and are good citizens and participate in the democratic process. We asked them how they feel about their school, schools in Pennsylvania in general, the education process, and then we got into some questions about Common Core. There were some interesting responses. Not surprisingly to us, when asked to give a letter grade to education, on average, they gave Pennsylvania's public education a C. A fair number thought that it was above average and better than that. Some even thought excellent. But almost an equal number thought we were failing and not up to snuff. Now, maybe not surprisingly, a lot of the people who responded felt a little bit better about their own school district than they did about education generally. Some 47% had said that they thought their school deserved an A or a B in terms of its skill. Only 32% of them gave public education overall in Pennsylvania an A or a B. Having said that, we tried to go in a little farther. Do you think education in Pennsylvania is getting better or getting worse? Sadly, most think it's gotten worse over the last 10 years. And many think that we are only about as good as other states, and nearly half of Pennsylvanians surveyed think that our education system in the Commonwealth lags behind those of the rest of the world. It's good to know that the people of Pennsylvania care about education in a global economy and tie education to a global economy, knowing that for our children, our grandchildren, the generations that come after, we're going to have good schools if they're going to get the good jobs in the global economy. The Pennsylvania voters that we talked to shared with us their thoughts. Not surprisingly, only a few had actually heard of or understood Common Core. Some 20% thought they heard the phrase, but only about half of those, 10% of the total number of people surveyed, really had some strong ideas about what Common Core was all about. That's okay. We explained the concept to them, and when we talked about more rigorous standards, the same standards in every one of Pennsylvania's 500 school districts, the same standards in every state, they strongly agreed. When we talked about taking a common assessment, a common exam, a test, to make sure that our students are performing well, they also said that was needed, and they supported that effort in Pennsylvania. We talked to them about the ideas for making education better, and they gave us a lot of good information that we can use as we work with policymakers, work with educators, work with parents, teachers, and other stakeholders in the education process to make Pennsylvania's education system better.